Hi, I'm Robert Ranieri. Today we're going to be talking about the extract, transform, and load process, otherwise known as ETL. The ETL process is vital in getting cleansed and organized data into your data warehouse. The data warehouse is where a company would store its multiple sources of data online for future analysis. In this example, for this particular data flow, the goal is to take offline Excel files and write them back into the database or data warehouse. So marked in blue is the extraction steps. You can actually see here where I'm taking each and every data set from. I'm then unionizing or appending them together, and so they're sitting one on top of the other because they all have the same schema. As I move forward here, we go to the different transform steps that I'm performing. This particular data set does not have a date column in it. I'm adding a date column. The actual file name itself has a date column. That file name is something I extract using this ETL tool. This is Alteryx in this case. And I'm making a date column in here, basically adding a column to the data set. Next, I'm putting in some BU specific coding for my company on their hierarchy. Then lastly, I'm removing the nulls, the blank data, so to speak, that might be put into Excel file by accident. I'm then grabbing only the ones that we care about, only the columns that we care about in the data set. Not every column is needed to be put on the database or data warehouse. I'm then joining it together with a data warehouse connection. This extract is actually coming from the data warehouse itself. The data warehouse I'm using is Snowflake, but there are many others, including Google BigQuery and Amazon Redshift. I transform in database in this example. So I'm filtering for different retailers. I'm getting retailer level data, and then filtering the data so that we're looking back 365 days or 1 year, and then summating that information up in this particular step by the sales, and I can get the by item sales for the last year, basically, for everything in the data set. I'm then merging them back to the data set I'm originally starting with, the 4 Excel files here, so that every single item that I'm now bringing in also has a column that's going to tell me what the sales were in the last 365 days or a year. Next, I'm extracting the actual data set that I'm going to be writing. Historically, I've been appending and making changes every single week. And so I continue to make revisions and continue to add to this particular data set, which is on the data warehouse. I'm merging that and bringing that in or appending it together so that I'm grabbing the 4 files here, which are the newest week's worth of data. And they have data through June 6th. And then I'm reaching back to the database that has data through the week before that and unionizing them together, then selecting the columns that are relevant. And then I'm only taking the unique values just in case I run this accidentally twice and create a duplicate value somehow. I am basically taking this week's worth of data, getting the historical data, and then taking it and then loading it back to the warehouse under the same name. I'm overwriting that data set with the exact same name so that we're getting in the latest week's worth of data. So the process for me is every week I have these 4 different Excel files. I get them, I drop them into either a SharePoint location somewhere online or just on my desktop, then run them through this ETL process where I'm unionizing them together. I'm doing my transformation so that it makes sense or it's cleansed in some way. I'm appending the history to it, and then finally I'm loading that data back into the database for future analysis. That, in a nutshell, is just one example, getting offline files onto the data warehouse. The unique thing about Alteryx or other ETL tools is sometimes you could do everything within your database. And so everything marked in blue here indicates that all the sources and all the transforms and all the loads are actually occurring on the database's engine, in this case Snowflake. So this will actually run quite a lot faster because the first example that was looking at files on my desktop and using my computer's own compute, whereas this example is using files or data sources that are in a warehouse already. I'm using the warehouse's engine's compute, basically that the server's engines, not my own laptop. So this would run faster, even though it's a much more complicated data set. I'm doing a lot more different joins and filtering and stuff like that. So you can do these transformations either in database or without database. The purpose of all of these is to load a cleansed data set to the data warehouse. Generally speaking, you want to keep Power BI reporting as a data visualization software. It's not really meant to be a data or ETL tool. It can do some of that in Power Query, but an ETL tool like this is useful for a business to get the data and cleanse it in some way or make it kind of business ready or gold layer ready before you connect to the data set. That, in a nutshell, is the ETL process.